Hello, I'm Matt the Comic Guy, and this is my last few videos of this year. And in this area of recording, that's right, today I'm not gonna be on this area of recording after a while. Don't worry, you will see me continue on this channel. Anyways, today I want to explain about something, and it's not something that really is explained a whole lot lately, and that's kind of a shame. Today is all about this site alone, and what happened to it after a while, and what was the cause of this change of the site. So this site, YouTube, from early 2005, was pretty much a platform, started as a platform where you can share videos. And the first one of these videos released was called Meet Me at the Zoo. However, something interesting has changed. A year after it was made, YouTube had decided to work with Google in certain things, and thus a new thing was born. YouTube still stayed for a while, but it took a few years until we got into 2010, when things started to be more interesting. This was the start of a thing called YouTube Rewind. You don't know what it was. YouTube Rewind was a thing of YouTube that pretty much rewind of all of what it needed for. Basically of each and every year up until this point. And for a few certain years, it actually worked. However, the second to last one was not so loved. And it's not so low, I mean dislikes by many people. And this will affect YouTube and be the explanation why they're not doing that anymore. But also, why hasn't they make videos where you can share certain things, instead go the incorrect way, go the worst possible way possible of making a video. I'm talking about the incorrect way and how to be successful for views. This affected YouTube so much that not only did they stop this rewind after a while, but their last one was a year afterwards. Meaning not too long after this, it started to be noticed the effect of YouTube. By a few years, started this whole grifting thing. Being a media grifter. That's a definition. A person who unfortunately deceives an audience in certain information of certain pieces of media, whether it be movies, TV shows, and video games, or by this case, comics. Yes, that's what it is. And unfortunately, covering certain topics that not only get tiring after a while, but also is not correct. The biggest load that we start to notice this type of thing is with Marvel Comics. Now, yes, Marvel Comics have done wrong things in the past. However, there were a few things that they covered with the Marvel Cinematic Universe that they didn't die entirely right. One such thing they didn't notice they got wrong was their complaints of She-Hulk. See, She-Hulk Eternal Law has just came out around this time when they started doing this sort of thing. However, there were many things they didn't say correctly or didn't notice it wasn't correct. Like this scene, for example, like one scene that totally explains why She-Hulk is not like her cousin. She explained in the scene that she does not get out of control as much as her cousin, and that she is better at controlling her anger than her cousin. However, there's one problem with knowing this is a problem with the show. In few episodes after, in the Daredevil crossover, in the end of that episode, she actually does lose control of herself, and yeah, just like her cousin goes on a bit of a rampage. So, knowing that her cousin was right. Just because she can easily control of anger doesn't mean that she cannot do so, because she, like her cousin, is a Hulk. And that's not the only thing. Many of these type of YouTubers, unfortunately, don't even notice a lot of things happen. A lot of these things, when they happen, they get criticized. And unfortunately, it's not really a valid thing of why they criticize it. However, that's not the only thing they criticize and don't even try to explain why they don't have a valid reason. Like the most current, like another example of the MCU, when they criticize the 4th Captain America movie, Captain America Brave New World. Like, one YouTuber got one thing incorrect and saying that this Captain America Falcon has Captain America's shield, even though he is Captain America and that is his shield. It was started with Howard Stark. Then Howard give it to Steve, then give it to him. Just like, excuse me, but yeah, you're kind of missing something of that. It's not just the MCU, unfortunately, that gets a lot of these things. And they don't have enough valid reason to explain so. Some of these guys even criticize certain things and don't even try to explain it of like other movies and shows. And giving like not so good excuses like the writing was bad. It's like, well, a lot of writing and shows are bad, but that's not the explanation you dislike it, huh? Or certain movies and shows that I never watched, but I can tell that it's not even entirely correct. I know Marvel Comics was a common thing about this thing, but a YouTuber named Birdman has just made that other things besides them had been alongside this type of criticism. Marvel Comics is just an example. The other thing of YouTube that unfortunately is still around that causes problems is YouTubers that unfortunately have questionable videos and not being caught about it. Some of them you already know why that is. However, they're questionable for a reason. They have certain things that should not be allowed to be on this platform, but they are. They're very questionable and very obviously are not helping. So yeah, we have a couple of things that unfortunately are continuing on making this type of thing pretty bad. Bad enough already, or making it worse. These media, the former being these media grifters that unfortunately say certain things about the movie and show that isn't entirely right. Or you have the latter, questionable videos that unfortunately aren't being noticed by YouTube themselves. Now the latter thing was common before. However, the former was not even common until this sort of thing happened. Instead of doing what they are doing now, instead of what they should have done, and actually notice what people dislike about one of their latest rewinds. Instead, they kind of what you call backpedaled and kind of went back on what made the video dislike in the first place. However, other YouTubers and other people are getting to notice these things. I already mentioned the former of grifters and them and what they say about certain things of Marvel Comics. However, there's another thing of a game I never played, and they never even explain why they were wrong about it. was bad enough before, but now it's getting to a point where this could need to change. And what they could fix about this? Well, for one, having both be profitable and actually, not be successful for once. Grifting on certain pieces of media on YouTube, that couldn't be profitable because, well, you shouldn't be profitable on YouTube if your information is incorrect. What you should do is have a balance between criticizing and praising. Actually notice these incorrect things that the person said, the YouTuber said, and actually notice the flaws, and actually notice that they're what's called missing facts. Adding facts that are actually true, and adding things that actually make sense, and then make it profitable. I'm not saying that criticizing something should not be profitable, should not have the YouTuber be successful. There are many YouTubers out there that can criticize something, yet their channels are successful. Because why their channels are successful? Because they're saying stuff about the thing they're covering that's actually true. For example, Doug Walker of the Nostalgia Critic, when he criticizes something, he actually says things that are for the most part, actually true. And he actually made certain videos where he noticed he did stuff wrong. He did stuff incorrect in the videos, and he realizes that. That's why he's trying not to do that anymore, so he can do better. I'm not saying to not have that type of thing not be successful. I'm just saying if it wants to be successful, it needs to be actually true. And it needs to have the YouTuber actually notice what they're saying is not correct. Because that can cause success. Just notice that your video, certain parts of the video is wrong. Just notice it. And that way you can, even better way to have success of criticizing certain things. Not just deceiving the audience, but actually saying something actually true. In the latter, those type of videos where it's questionable, it's questionable and shouldn't be allowed at all. Just make sure YouTube is aware and just get rid of those videos. Please. I'm Matt the Comic Guy. See you on the 4th. Bye.